What is the best Star Wars book? I wouldn't dare answer this question, but what I can do instead is share my favorite Star Wars books and tell you why I love them. You might recognize some of the titles, but also you can find something new to add to your TBR. You don't have to be like a super fan to enjoy those stories. It's enough to have some basic understanding of Star Wars, maybe seen some of the movies, or maybe these books can be your entry point into the Star Wars universe. So let's talk some Star Wars. Before I tell you my favorite books, let's see what is out there in the galaxy of Star Wars literature. Before Disney bought Lucasfilm in 2012, there was a whole timeline of Star Wars novels, often called the Expanded Universe, that continued the adventures of well-known characters like Luke, Leia, and Han. There were also stories set thousands of years before the films, during eras like the Old Republic. But when Disney took over, those stories were rebranded as legends and declared non-canon. Since then, Disney and Lucasfilm have released a new wave of official canon Star Wars novels, including books focused on characters like Ahsoka. Now I'm going to tell you about my favorite Star Wars stories, both from Legends and from the new canon, and I'm going to present them to you based on how much I enjoyed them, and we will finish with my favorites. And we're going to focus only on the novels, because the comics are kind of like another universe of their own, okay? First, we're going to start with a book from the new canon. It's called Lost Stars. I have it here, it's translated, but yeah. Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. It looks big, but actually it's not so big. The font is kind of big. The story follows two childhood friends, Tain and Cien. Sorry if I mispronounce. So we follow those characters as they grow up and eventually find themselves on the opposite sides. One joins the rebellion and the other stays loyal to the Empire. But there is a little bit of romantic subplot happening between them, and it's interesting to see how each of them goes on a different path and see the different points of view and their character growth. It's an interesting way to see events that the fans of Star Wars are already familiar with, like the rebellion versus the Empire, but just from another point of view. The story offers this fresh new look at events, like for example the Battle of Hoth or the destruction of Alderaan, and we follow these characters as they grow, as they change. It's a fast-paced classic Star Wars adventure. It has some emotional stakes, like you wonder what's gonna happen with those two friends, how their personal choices set them against each other. Are they going to get back together? What's going to happen with them? It's interesting, it's adventurous. So I enjoyed it. It was an easy read, a quick read. I enjoyed all the reference to events happening in the original trilogy. But I feel like the story was very safe, not exactly predictable, but just playing by the rules. It was well written, well executed, but just really it didn't strike me with anything particularly new or particularly emotional, but it was enjoyable. I think for what it is good. So if you're looking for a quick read, a full immersion in Star Wars, I think this is great, especially if you enjoy the original trilogy, because this deals with the events of the rebellion and the Empire. Yeah, give it a try. It's a safe bet. If you're looking for a quick Star Wars read, it's a safe bet. I think younger readers might enjoy it more. But if you want something more serious, more mature, then maybe you can try the other book from the same author, from Claudia Gray, which is focused on Leia, and it's called Bloodline. I don't have the book here with me because I read it as an ebook. So this book takes place a few years before The Force Awakens and focuses on Leia in her new role as a leader. The fact that she is Darth Vader's daughter becomes public and has some severe consequences on her life. It's just more mature, more slow-paced, more political book. So if you like something like that, you enjoy it. It still has, some action, but it's more like a character exploration. And since I love Leia and I really wanted to see her as a leader, a bit like a grown-up leader, I enjoyed more than Lost Stars because I'm more invested in Leia. Like in Lost Stars, the characters were, they're likable and I enjoyed knowing them, but like Leia is a character I'm more invested in, so I was more interested in this story because it's just like the main saga, the main plotline. But I have a bit of mixed feelings about the entire sequel. There are some things that are okay, some things I don't like so much, So I'm not very convinced about this entire idea of the New Order. And in this book, it's foreshadowed how it's kind of forming. So, I don't know how to explain it. I have a bit of an issue with this new canon, that the stories feel a bit scattered. Like we see this character and this character and this character, and some of those stories are good or on their own, like they give some interesting perspective. It's like there is no one big arc that I'm interested in. Like this New Order arc, it's not like my favorite. It's a completely different topic. The point is that even though I'm interested in certain characters and I would like to read their books, I miss this big storyline, the continuation of the epic saga, so I feel like those stories are a bit disjointed and a bit scattered around. So that's why maybe I like Legends more, or maybe it's because I grew up reading Legends, so I'm more emotionally attached to them. I tried reading the new canon books. There are some books that I liked, like the Leia book, and Lost Stars were enjoyable, but some of the others, I try to get into them and I kind of lose interest. I'll try to read a bit more, maybe I will find more. Maybe you can suggest me some of your favorite new canon books. But let's now go and talk about the Legends, which are my favorite. Now, you might ask me, why go and read Legends when they're not canon anymore? Well, some people read fanfiction, and it's not canon. I think if you're an older fan of Star Wars, you might appreciate them more. If you're a newer generation fan, if you started with The Force Awakens, maybe you don't want to know the Legends. But I think there are good stories in there, and you can think of them as some kind of an alternative universe. Like in my head right now, there is like alternative universe of Star Wars, which is the new canon, and you can pick which one you like. I mean, we have the choice to check different stories and see which one we like. So I think you should at least try the Legends and see maybe these stories appeal to you more or less. I don't know, but there are some stories that are really good. My favorite there are basically Timothy Zahn's books. The most famous one is the Thrawn Trilogy. I have it here. As you see, I have the old versions, like they have seen a lot. I think those are the most famous ones. So even if you don't want to read anything else from Legends, at least give it a go. Try this, because the chance is you're going to enjoy it. These books are set 5 years after the Return of the Jedi and feature Luke, Leia, and Han as they encounter a new threat, which is Grand Admiral Thrawn, and he became such an iconic character that they took him out of Legend and he is canon again. If you've seen Star Wars Rebels or Ahsoka, you have seen him. He really became an iconic Star Wars villain. He's a strategic genius. He's very cunning and interesting villain, so of course they wanted to bring him back. But if you want to see him the way he was first envisioned, you should read this trilogy. It's not so long. In this trilogy, there is also another character that is introduced, which is Mara Jade. Okay, a bit of a spoiler. I don't know how much of a spoiler it is. You can skip. Wow, there was a spoiler sign. She grows up to become like Luke Skywalker's wife, and I really like her. I also like her dynamic with Luke. I think one of the things I miss the most from Legends is her, but I don't want them to bring her back, because if they bring her back, they will probably make her a completely different character. So no, but just because these books have such an iconic characters, can tell you that they really expanded the lore, expanded the world. Those books managed to keep the original feeling of the original saga. We have the same kind of vibe. We have the typical Han and Leia and Luke dynamic. We see them develop. We see them encounter new problems. The New Republic has a lot to deal with, and Thrawn is a really dangerous villain. So you really worry about them. And I also enjoyed the duology that comes afterwards a bit, again from Timothy Zahn, The Hand of Thrawn, which is kind of a continuation, and they're like the Luke and Mara relationship evolves more. So give them a go. Try them. I think you enjoy them. Of course, those stories are not so grand like the Empire versus the Rebellion. As iconic as Thrawn is, it's not like the Emperor and Darth Vader, It's the scale of things is a bit smaller, but still the stakes are high, and it's just fun to spend more time in this universe with these characters. So give it a go. Give it a go. Especially if you don't like the sequels, you might find this a nice alternative. Even if you like the sequels, just give it a go. It's just an alternative universe and it's fun. It's cool. Now, let's go backwards and move to the era of the prequels, because I have one series that I really loved when I was young. This series is actually kind of a middle grade young adult series, so it's more like for younger readers, but I don't think it's childish. I feel like it's kind of universal. I think it appeals to all ages, and that is the Jedi Apprentice series. It's a lot of books. I don't even have them all here. Again, those are old books. You see, I read them when I was 12. No, some I read a bit later. I really want to mention this because when we grow up, our criteria for liking books also changes. We become more critical, and sometimes we forget like the enjoyment and the appeal of more simple books, a more like pure adventure kind of a book, you know? And for me, when I was younger, like these were like, I was obsessed with these books, okay? I was not hater of the prequels. I watched the prequels when I was very young. Right after watching like Phantom Menace, I just wanted to read more of Star Wars, and so this came along and I absolutely loved it. It was perfect for me at this age. They had different adventures and went to different planets, met different aliens, and each planet presented new challenge, and the challenge was also kind of external and internal. The dynamic between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon was quite interesting to me because there was some drama there. Like Qui-Gon didn't want Obi-Wan at the beginning, and I just loved everything. There was character development, character drama, master apprentice dynamic, new adventures, new worlds, new characters. It was perfect for me. Honestly, I loved it. I wasn't a big reader at that time, but I really loved reading these books. I was really proud of reading them, and now they seem so small, and I think you can read this in like an afternoon. It's so small. It's like a short story, right? They're actually kind of like short stories. My battery died while I was just gushing about the Jedi Apprentice. But yeah, I love this book. I really, really love this book, and I'm kind of a Obi-Wan girly. I don't know, I love Obi-Wan. So yeah, these books were precious to me. But talking about Obi-Wan, I have to mention another favorite of mine, which is much more mature, much more slow-paced and more atmospheric. It's called Kenobi by John Jackson Miller. I don't have this book physically with me because I actually listened to the audiobook. And I super recommend you to listen to the audiobook because the actor, like the voice actor, he was great at least I think he was great. He sounded so much like Ewan McGregor, and he read everything so well. Like I felt his pain because this book is very retrospective. It's very emotional and it's kind of heartbreaking. There was just this moment when Obi-Wan was reflecting on his failures and on what he should do next and so on. And I just really felt his pain. You know, I think this book gave me such a strong impression because of the way it was read. Like, so I cannot imagine it if it's not audiobook. It just was perfectly read. So it takes place after the Revenge of the Sith. So Obi-Wan is like laying low on Tatooine and trying to stay hidden. But of course, there's some troubles with the locals and he's kind of trying not to get involved, but of course he gets involved and he helps them with some local problem. I feel like the entire story, like what was happening on around him was interesting, but the most interesting thing was to get into his mind, to spend time with his character as he reflects on his failures, in his feelings and his future. There's still, of course, some action and some complication. It's not just him sitting on a rock and thinking about his life. No, there's a story, there are some stakes, it's interesting, and I really, really enjoyed it. I feel like this book stands on its own so well that even if it's not canon anymore, it could be canon. Like, I mean, it's just like a one short adventure with Obi-Wan on Tatooine, and it doesn't really contradict too much with other canon as far as I remember. The Obi-Wan show happens after this, I think. It could even be considered like kind of a tie-in between the show and the movies, I don't know, but you should find the audiobook. So now let's talk about what are my favorite Star Wars books. And I think this is a bit of a cheat, but it's my video, so I'll be cheating a bit. But my favorite Star Wars books are actually the Star Wars adaptations. You'll say, oh, but that doesn't count. It counts. They're books, and the Star Wars movie to book adaptations have some differences to the movies, not big differences. It's more like they expand on the movies, which is a great way to re-experience those stories in a book format, which, like books just give you the ability to add more details, and especially about characters' feelings and emotions and thought. But there's another reason why I love those adaptations. And my favorite one, I think, is Revenge of the Sith, and I'll tell you why at the end. But the point is that, let me show you something. This is a very old book, right? I bought it, I think, secondhand. It's in Bulgarian, it's my language. The thing is, like, when I watched first Star Wars, like original trilogy, I watched it when I was a kid, and I saw the Return of the Jedi, and I couldn't find the other movies back then. There were no streaming, in the Stone Age. So I found the books in the library. So I read New Hope and Empire Strikes Back as the books, and I experienced them in this way. For me, Star Wars first was a novel, and then, it was a movie, The Return of the Jedi, but the other ones were novels. So I have this particular memory with me as a child. I had a lightsaber, or it was something similar to a lightsaber, I don't know, a glowing sword. I had a glowing sword, and I was reading those books until late at night. And again, I wasn't much of a reader back then. Between the age of 10 and 12 and 13, I was like, I can do other things rather than reading. But I was reading Star Wars because I loved it. When I started to read New Hope, it was pure magic, honestly. I had the visuals, like from The Return of the Jedi. I knew how the characters look like, but I really enjoyed reading the New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. And then I bought The Return of the Jedi as well. The other, I don't have them. I had to return to the library, and then I got the movies because now movies are everywhere. But the point is, the story, the concept of Star Wars is just so universal. No matter if it's a book or a movie, it captivates you. It captivates your imagination, and it's just good. So I don't know, if for people who don't like movies so much, who are those people? I don't know, but they can just read Star Wars books, right? I want to say something, especially for the Revenge of the Sith. This one I read when the Revenge of the Sith came out. I was already I was still young, but not 12. My God, I'm old. Anyway, when The Revenge of the Sith came out, I saw the movie, but I just wanted more, so I bought the book. In this case, I think The Revenge of the Sith novel adaptation was one of the adaptations I enjoyed the most, because I feel like it added the most. And maybe because this story is just so tragic and moving and dramatic and exciting and sad, and it's just so many emotions. This is like the climax of everything happening in the prequels. It just made the Anakin's journey kind of better. Like it enriched the entire story. It gave more, even just quick insights into Anakin's mind or his feelings, or even just, I don't know. I remember, I haven't read it in a few years, but I remember, I should reread it. I remember that I truly enjoyed this novel a lot. So I feel like if you like the movie, you should read this just to re-experience it, and just, I don't know, just the books always give something little extra that the movies cannot give, as the movies have other extras, different mediums. So yeah, I think, so this maybe makes my favorite Star Wars book. I don't know, maybe it's the Jedi Apprentice. I love Jedi Apprentice, man. I love all the memories this book brings me on, honestly. Those are my favorite Star Wars books. So let me know, what are your favorite Star Wars books? How did you get into Star Wars? Do you even care about Star Wars? Leave me a comment if you want, or a thumbs up, or you can subscribe. Have a good day, and see you again in another video. Bye bye!